G'day everybody and welcome to Andrew's Art and Models. Today we have the Panzerkampfwagen 7 low by I'm using Hobby in 1/35 scale. So you're thinking Panzer 7, if you haven't heard of this one before, don't be surprised. Most people would have known of the Panzers 1 through 6 and their respective variants. This guy was a Paper Panzer that never made it off the drawing board. So if memory serves, it was designed in 42. And when it was decided to look at the E-Series and the mouse and things like that, they just discarded this super heavy tank. So, yeah, not a lot of history behind it other than that. And you can see on the side of the box, there's some nice photos of the model building and what you get inside the kit. So, let's have a closer look at what you get inside the kit. And first, we're going to start with the instructions. Right, so the instructions are pretty straightforward. You've got your sprue count here, and the sprue count is pretty high. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of plastic for this little, not so little kit, I should say. Road wheels and the tracks are very reminiscent of the Tiger series, the King Tiger series. So the road wheels look exactly the same. Tracks are very similar, if not identical. And you get the idea. Construction is very simple and straightforward. There really isn't a heck of a lot to do with this kit. It's really all basic. The biggest thing you'll find during the construction is you have the option of a photo etch part for the side steps or the kit part. So that's up to you. They actually give you both, which is quite nice. If you don't want to put the photo etch on, you don't have to. The rest of the construction's very straightforward, and it is standard, individual track link building. They do have a nice little template there for you though to put the tracks on. The really only difference with this track setup is how you put them together. So if you have a look here, like most Tiger tank tracks, you've got the tracks with the grooves and the other ones without the grooves. That is no different on this. The installation's the same, except you have another grid line, another line of parts, and these are for the raised parts on the track. So it's a bit of an unusual way of doing it. Normally you see that molded in, but yeah, so there's 102 track links for each side, so it's not too bad. Done worse. And the color scheme, color markings, obviously it was Paper Panzer, it was never built, so they just give you a Panzer grey with some very basic markings on it. So it is totally up to you what you want to do. So we'll just go back to the tracks for a moment before we continue on with the rest of it. And you can see there's quite a lot of sprues for the tracks. There's 6 for those and another 6 total. So, forgive me, 7. 7 of those, 5 of those. So those are the little parts that you stick on top. It's not going to be too difficult. It's just going to be a little tedious getting them off the sprue, but they look reasonably well molded. There's no flash or anything on there that I could see, so it's going to be a nice, simple build. Let's just zoom in a little bit. So, typical bathtub style hull. We've got our little injection marks there, which are standard fare. Sand them off, and away you go. No flash, no sink marks. There is an odd sort of a kink to the kit, so you can see that there, and I'd say that'll straighten out when you put the top of the hull on or the rear of the hull on. It'll hold it out, and that's probably just from the molding process, but so I wouldn't worry too much about that, but it is noticeable early on, so just bear that in mind. Later it's probably going to be a tight squeeze with some of the other parts. Really quickly, let's go through these. This decal sheet, simple as, not very complex at all, and they look really well printed and not too thick at all. Clear parts, standard fare with your clear parts, clear periscopes for the commander's cupola and driver positions and other crew positions, I believe, and the photo etch. So the photo etch is really simple. So that is pretty common with most of the kits. A few little poly caps in there, yep. And this is the last piece of photo etch that comes with the kit. And that's the side plates, as we were talking about. Oh, my camera does not like that. That's the side plates that we were talking about before. So they actually look quite nice. And if you're going to damage them up and have them crinkled, bent, whatever, that's a really nice touch. So thank you, Amusing Hobby. All of the parts come bagged. which is definitely a necessity because there were some loose parts in the kit. I have them all located, so it's not a big deal, but it is nice to see them there, even though they come off the sprues. Got part of the exhaust system here, the exhaust covers, a few other little bits and pieces, cupola, sorry, not cupola, little hatches and periscopes. Those will be for the side skirts. Yeah, not too difficult. And we've got the front guards there as well, or they're probably the rear guards, excuse me. But yeah, very simple. All the molding on these is really nice. So, I mean, you expect it to be good. It's a new tooled kit, and it certainly is. I couldn't find really much flash. There's a tiny little bit here or there. Seam lines, for the most part, are very well hidden, even on parts that are single mold piece like this. So that there, I mean, you can see little seam lines on there. They're not bad at all. They're easy to fix. Very, very quick light sanding. So there's a few of the identical pieces here. Torsion bar suspension comes with it as well. I always find that curious. I'm not sure if they intended to do an internal version of this kit or not, but yeah, that's there regardless. Tool set. This is one point where I found a little molding error, and you can see there's a sink mark there right on the jack for the tank, and it's pretty average. Why the rest of it's molded so well on just that one part, no idea. But I'm sure if you're an armoured modeler, you've probably got plenty of spares of those laying around anyway. But just something to keep an eye out for. It's in a very awkward spot to try and correct, so not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. I'll probably just replace it. More road wheels, and we've got the return idlers, dry sprockets, all the bits and pieces. Now this is where on the other part I'm missing a piece. But as I was saying, it was in the bag, so it was okay. It's all there. Once again, nicely molded. Couldn't find much to fault these on. Tiny bit of flash on some of the bits and pieces, but overall, excellent, really. I'm not complaining, as kind of Frida used to say in Australia. If you're in the US or elsewhere in the world, you're probably going, what the hell was that? It's an Aussie thing, don't worry about it. Right, so moving on to the next part. So there is our track guide for construction on the tracks. Love seeing these. Thank you for including that. And here is the turret, and some very, very nice cast detail on that turret. So obviously it's not like other German vehicles that had predominantly welded turrets. This one was a cast turret, which is kind of odd for them. But yeah, I suppose they've probably just been introduced to the T-34s and probably trying to take a page out of that book. But interesting detail, really, really nice. I think that's going to come up well. And all the features on here, I mean, even the gun mantelet there's got it. So you can see it on there. It's really well done. Cupola's nice and crisp. Yeah, cannot fault that part at all. And moving on, so we've got the side steps, and you can see they're kind of thick. They're on the thick side. I mean, it doesn't help that they've got the edging on there, but you can see just by the end there, they are really quite thickly molded. And that's probably why they've included the photo etch ones, because those parts are really, well, off scale-ish, I suppose you'd say. But that's okay. They've included the photo etch parts in there, which are obviously a much better option and nicely designed. We've got the front of the vehicle there and the rear, and the engine deck, top at the front. So nicely molded. Only that one issue that I could find. There's no sink marks or anything on this that I found. It's all molded pretty well. A little bit of a, I don't know if it's a grease or what on there, so it's probably not a bad idea just to give this a little bit of a wash prior to painting. But other than that, all there. Right, that pretty much concludes the Amusing Hobby Lion Low kit review, except you might notice there was no metal barrel in there. So I have gone ahead and purchased my regular arbor barrel specifically for this vehicle, and looking forward to putting this on. Now, VK 7001 is the designation, because it was never got a production designation of Panzer 7 or anything. So whenever they did a prototype, it was usually a VK, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it would have, a P or a H for Henschel, or a D for Daimler, so on and so forth. So if you see that, that's all that is. And yeah, looking forward to doing it. Amusing hobby. How did you go with this one? I really like it. I think it's really good. The tool jack, as I say, it's probably going to be an easy enough part to replace. But that's really the only thing in there that's skew-if, so to speak. It's the rest of it is nicely done by the looks of it. I'm sure I'll probably find one or two other little things when I'm making it. I usually do, but the kit itself seems really well molded and well priced. It's not hugely expensive for what it is, really. It's a nice kit and of a very interesting vehicle. Those of you that know World of Tanks will probably be familiar with the premium tankers running around in these. I was never one of those. Never. But yeah, it was a fun tank. I actually love this one in the game. And this is a commission one, so I was really happy when he said, can I get one of that? Yep, done. Not a problem. Yeah, amusing hobbies. Should you buy it? Yes, definitely. It's a good looking kit. Looks like it's going to build up well, and I am looking forward to it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I try to keep them brief and quick and point out just the most interesting details. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'll more than happily answer whatever I can. And don't forget, we do the monthly scale model giveaway on this channel. And that's announced at the beginning of the month and drawn at the end of the month. And you will see those videos every month without fail. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you for the next one.